Welcome to Sajine Clarity Podcast, a space to explore our clarity journey from survival to authenticity. I'm Sajine, and here we dive into the raw truths of breaking free from the expectations we've grown up with, rediscovering our voices and thriving after life's challenges. But this isn't just about my story, it's about life, from relationships and self-discovery to the messy, beautiful questions we all face. No topic is off limits here. So if you're ready to embrace courage, healing, and life on your own terms, you're in the right place. Let's connect. Let's grow. Welcome to the journey. Before we dive in, a quick disclaimer. This podcast is for informational and inspirational purposes only. I'm not a licensed therapist, counselor, or medical professional, and the content shared here is based on the personal experiences and insights. If you're facing significant challenges, please seek the support of a qualified professional. Remember, your journey is unique, and you deserve the care and guidance that's right for you. Well, I'm super happy to have you on the show tonight or today, depending on where you're at. I just want to say welcome. Here on Sajine Clarity, where we talk about truth, healing, and reclaiming your voice after life tried to silence it. Today, it is all about when your empathy is weaponized, escaping the trap of responsibility. It's deeply personal today, but then again, when isn't it deeply personal, right? I think it's important to know that you're not alone in this. I want to talk about something that many people experience but rarely have the words for. What happens when your empathy gets weaponized against you? When your responsibility, your compassion, your faith become tools someone uses to control you. You start doing more and more, trying harder and harder, believing that if you just show enough patience, love, and understanding, things will finally change. But instead, the expectations grow, and suddenly you're trapped in a system where the very qualities that make you a good human being are the exact things keeping you stuck. Today, we're going to unpack that. And more importantly, we're going to talk about how you reclaim yourself. So the first part I want to talk about is the weaponization of empathy. I don't know how many times we go through this, but I'm not going to change my empathy. The only thing is I'm going to change my boundaries and the way that my empathy is used, okay? So empathy is one of the most beautiful human traits. It allows us to connect with people, to understand pain, to offer grace. But in the hands of someone manipulative, empathy becomes leverage. Instead of mutual care, the relationship becomes one-sided. You begin hearing things like, if you really cared, you would understand. If you were more patient, things would get better. You're the only one who can help. And the most notorious one I ever got told is, well, if you love me, then you would ... Even though I said, what did you think? That I was a little teenager that would fall for that? But they're so manipulative, they actually use it against you. And suddenly you feel responsible for fixing problems that were never yours to solve. I think that is the one thing that I hate the most, is that we're left to fix problems. And because empathetic people love to fix things, you don't see anything wrong with it until you start withering away. It's just too much work. The thing is we are all adults. Everybody has their own free will. Everybody has their own responsibilities to get themselves where they need to go or out of them. I'm not saying that you can't help. I'm saying you're not here to do everything for them while they just sit there looking all pretty. That's the trap. But people assume others operate with the same moral compass. Manipulators know they don't. The thing is, I think that was the hardest thing for me, is knowing that I thought everybody was empathetic. I thought everybody worked on the same moral compass. I figured the ones that were broken were already in jail, so I didn't have to worry about them. But that was just being very naive, because a lot of people are not on that moral compass. And assuming others have the best intentions is the downfall of us empathetic people, because our empathy is so strong. We love deeply. We care. We can feel people's feelings. We want to help because we don't want injustice for anybody, but not everybody thinks it. And then let's add some high IQs in there. And guess what? Now you're only the 20% of the, people in the world. And it makes it so hard. And I'm not saying, because the rest of the world is so bad that, let's just separate it, become a hermit and deal with it. No, the thing is we're in this world and we need to learn how to navigate it. So then we move to the responsibility trap. Another thing that gets weaponized in us, right? When you're someone who believes in accountability, loyalty, and doing right things, you carry weight others refuse to carry. Now, I'm not just saying this is only in relationships. This can be in your family. It can be at church, at work, at school, anywhere, Loyalty. I'll never forget this cute little sign I saw, on I think it was an Instagram post. It was the funniest thing. Somebody was at work and they put a sign in the back of their chair and it said, you know what? If you want loyalty, go get yourself a dog. And it made me laugh so bad, because the thing is, it's sad to think that people have they're loyal, and and they get weaponized against them. It's not okay. So you overperform. How many of us? Let's raise our hands. How many of us overperformers, or what they call us workhorses, or the ninjas of work and everything, whatever they want to call us, you work harder. You try to stabilize the chaos. I don't know how many times I try to bring the chaos down, because I figure if everybody is taken care of and loved and respected, then life can run smoothly. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. The situation is that it has to become a team effort. You're not the savior. You're not the superhero. It's not even feasible for you to do that, But what you don't realize at first is that your sense of responsibility has become someone else's safety net. Oh, yeah. How many of us have a safety net? The thing is, us empathetic people, we become the biggest safety net, and yet we don't give ourselves anything. We're just out there in the open where we can get hurt. It is not a good thing. So I want you guys to start hearing this. And if you want to chime in, put it in the notes. We can dissect it. We can talk about it. I think it's important, And when you try to pull away, they remind you of everything you could lose. This was the hardest thing for me. Like they said, I went into the rabbit hole. I went in knee deep. And I thought I was being kind, loyal, protective. I figured that would be reciprocated back to me. Oh no. I found some of the worst toxic, narcissistic, sociopathic tendencies, because, we can't diagnose people. You've heard that. But we can say they're tendencies, right? And because it seems like they get more respect. We're flat out told that we're crazy or whatnot, and that's it. But they can't say, oh no, this person has empathetic, traits or anything like that. No, they just slam the door in your face. So what do they try to take away? Your home, your children, your reputation, your stability. And suddenly it feels like leaving would destroy everything. So you stay, not because you're weak, but because the stakes were intentionally made impossibly high. I don't know how many of you need a home. If you worked your butt off so hard, you get up to work, you do everything you need to do so you can have a home, and then the manipulator comes and tries to take it away. Because why? Well, you stopped playing their game, so they're going to make sure you have nothing. They try to take your children because why? Because they know that you love deeply. And the fact that they would try to take your children, the one thing that you carried in your stomach, you still carry their DNA in you. Oh yeah, I heard about the scientific statistics on that. It says that we still carry the children's DNA within our body. And then what? They try to take your reputation away. Oh my goodness, you know how many people left me because I don't know what he smeared against me, or other people in other places that left me, what? Alone. Fine. You want to leave me alone? You want to believe somebody else? Guess what? They're going to talk about you too. And I hope you enjoy it. And no, I'm not bitter. But you know what? I'm at this point in my life that I'm like, well, you chose wrong, and enjoy it. Now, if somebody's really sincere, you can decide to forgive them, and you can decide if you want to allow them back in your life or not. But if they're still friends with the others, then no. You can forgive and then say, I can love you from afar. The stability. They wanted to make sure you don't have a home. Utilities, warmth, coolness, food, clothing, all the stuff that humans need, they want to take away. And suddenly it feels like leaving would destroy everything. Why? Because it's true. It is terrible what they do. And then people who say, oh, you stayed, well, I don't see you leaving. Even if there is no toxicity in your life, you would not leave it. So let's go on to the next section here. Questions everyone asks. People often say, why didn't you leave sooner? But they're asking that question from the outside of the battlefield. They didn't experience the psychological warfare. They didn't experience the threats, the isolation, the manipulation, the fear of losing everything. When someone slowly dismantles your safety nets, leaving isn't just a decision. It feels like walking into the desert without water. But here's the truth. The same instincts that kept you surviving inside the trap will eventually help you survive outside of it. Humans were designed to survive, and more importantly, to thrive. Don't let anybody take that away from you, to thrive, because you have just as much right to thrive in this world. So what is the turning point on this? There comes a moment where clarity hits. You realize your empathy was never the problem. Your goodness was never the problem. The problem was that someone learned how to exploit it. Yes, indeed. Oh my gosh. You know how many exploiters are out there? I know sometimes people say, oh, you're just being too panicky, too old-fashioned. You were freaking out about nothing. Well, you know what? You weren't in there. You were not. And just because I was in there doesn't mean I'll be there all the time. No, because I've learned a big lesson. And now I move forward. And that's when you realize everything changes. You stop negotiating your worth. Exactly. Don't negotiate your worth. You stop trying to convince someone to treat you with basic respect. I think that's the hardest thing. How they gaslight you to think that you don't deserve basic human respect. How dare these people do that? They do it because they're not in your shoes. And instead you start asking new questions. What would my life look like if I stopped shrinking to keep someone else comfortable? I was thinking about it, and after some really good investigating, I found out that basically we get treated like we were a burden to society. How dare you do that to me? Most of us, we are really hardworking people, and we do everything to the letter of the T. And then the moment that we actually ask help, because for goodness, my goodness, I mean, how many times have you heard, if you need help, call this number. If you need help, do this. If you need help, don't do it alone. So you start asking for help. And for goodness sakes, then you start hearing, maybe it's just you. Maybe you're just not grown up. I remember I one day will look at that guy's face that said, oh, you should grow up. It's not against the law to be a jerk. Jeez, I hope your children never go through that, sir. Or the other one who says that she'd be willing to help, and she said, maybe now that you're divorced, now he's going to be a good father. My jaw just dropped to the ground. I said, so you said that you're here to help me, but now you were accusing me that I'm the whole reason why my ex was that toxic? Wow. And then they ask you, why didn't you leave sooner? That's why, because they're not there to help you. You have to be strong. You have to help each other. Find your communities. Find everybody who has trauma informed to help you out. The question is the beginning of freedom. So, because I do not want to leave you guys without anything here, because I think you guys deserve it. You are very important. I brought your favorite 5 journal prompts for healing. If you're going through this right now, journaling can help you reconnect with your voice. I can't express how you writing it down, making music, your own books, whatever you need to do helps a lot. But this is for you. And remember, don't forget your documentation. That helps out a lot too. Number 1, when did I first start feeling responsible for someone else's behavior? Mine started out when I was very small. 2, what part of myself did I silence in order to keep the peace? Wow. If you didn't keep the peace, you didn't know if your food was going to be on your table. 3, if I removed fear from the equation, what boundaries would I set immediately? My favorite word is no. It's great. The person who will respect you immediately finds out what you need. And the one that is manipulative, they actually will rage. And then you know who to get rid of. 4, what strengths helped me survive this situation? On my trauma-informed community out there, I love them. They help me survive. I could watch those YouTube videos a million times, and each time I felt like I was being validated and that I can move forward. I really hate how I felt, but I love that community that was there for me. 5. What does a peaceful life look like for me now? Oh, man. Even though it's boring, because then you know you're doing it right, that peace where you can get up and have your tea or coffee or whatever you want and just enjoy your day, it is amazing. So write honestly, not politely. Your journal is the one place you don't have to perform. Be you. Now, go ahead, take a seat, lay down, wherever you want to feel when you want to feel relaxed. let's do this little guided meditation. Take a slow breath in and gently close your eyes if you can. Inhale deeply through your nose. Hold for a moment and slowly exhale. Again, inhale deeply through your nose. Hold for a moment and slowly exhale. Breathing in calm, breathing out pressure. Imagine yourself standing in an open field. No expectations. No voices telling you who you should be. Just space. Notice how your shoulders begin to relax. Notice how your breathing slows. You're allowed to take up space. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to protect your peace. Every inhale restores your clarity. Every exhale releases the weight that was never yours to carry. Repeat quietly to yourself. I release responsibility for what was never mine. I honor the strength that carried me this far. I trust myself to carry a better future. Stay here for a few moments. Breathing in freedom. Breathing out fear. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes. And remember, your story didn't end in survival. It continues in transformation. Now go ahead and start wiggling your toes and your hands and open your eyes. Take a deep breath in and feel the goodness. If this episode resonated with you, know that you're not alone. There are so many people quietly navigating the same journey, learning how to reclaim themselves after being conditioned to overgive. Your empathy is not a weakness. Your responsibility is not a flaw. They were simply placed in the wrong hands, but in the right environment, those same qualities will become the foundation of a beautiful life. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to share it with someone who might need it, or reach out to connect. Thank you for spending this time with me today. This is Jean, and until next time, I'll see you in the next episode.